Hello children. Today we're going to talk about goal setting and motivation. Another update from a man in a vest in a room. So, what is motivation? People often ask me really embarrassing questions that I just can't even fucking talk about here because they're so disgusting. And they also ask me, what's motivation? How can I become more motivated? I don't feel very motivated. And my answer to that is usually to look at their values and to see where their life is going, because motivation is not an attribute or a thing that you have, it's a symptom. Motivation is a symptom of doing what you want to do and living a life that's in accordance with your values. Now, I should give you a little warning here. Goal setting is a useful exercise as an exercise in lateral thought. It's not that useful an exercise as a way of achieving goals. Now, the reason for that is there's a little bit of a cognitive disconnect here, and it comes down to a problem of language. The problem is with a goal, if you think about a goal, like the man kicked the ball into a goal. The man or the woman, perhaps she's a lady soccer player, I don't know, must stand in front of the goal. And what's implied by a goal? Distance. Goal is something you have in front of you, but there's distance. So you can never really achieve your goal, can you? Because if you achieve your goal, it's no longer a goal. So a goal is always something that you never achieve. That's a problem. You never say that person is living their goal. You might say that person is living their dreams, but you'd never normally say that person is living a goal. So that's an issue. But it doesn't mean that goal setting is a waste of time. It is not. One of the first things I advise, and you can get this notebook for free by following the link below, please do. The first thing I advise is that everybody who does goal setting exercises is that you make sure your goals are your goals. A goal setting exercise, I think, is a fantastic, fun exercise in getting into your motivational strategies and your values, and it helps you to think laterally about who you are. Make sure, this is one great example of this, make sure your goals are your goals. They're not goals that other people have for you, they're actually things that you want for yourself. And as you really rinse this through with a lot of critical thought and self-discipline, you'll often find that goals that you think are yours aren't even yours at all. They're just things that other people want or that are convenient for other people. The second thing to remember is that the way to know if a goal is actually your goal is if it makes you feel good. If it makes you feel motivated and happy and cheerful and upbeat, then it's your goal. If it makes you feel obligated, stressed and anxious, then it's somebody else's goal for you. I wrote here, you should feel giddy and happy like a small child. If it does, that inner child often controls motivation. It's a slightly woo-woo model of psychotherapy. We're moving into the realms of where psychotherapy moves into some hippy-dippy new age stuff, but I have a lot of time for inner child therapy work. I think that it is a valid model. And it there are, I think, in the Hawaiian healing model of psychotherapy, the inner child, they have three entities. I won't go into it here because I'm not qualified to go into it, but you know how in Freudian psychology they have the superego, the ego and the id, and the id would kind of represent the child. Well, in Hawaiian psychology they have a similar thing, but it's the child that controls energy and that controls motivation. And if the child is wounded or traumatized or not listened to, the energy switches off. That model seems to work. If you think about it in that sense, it seems something like that seems to be happening. Okay. So remember that motivation is a symptom of doing what you love, and it's a byproduct. You can never reach a goal per se. I'm reading from the ebook, which you can download now. You should probably look at the ebook as you're listening to me, and you can start having a go at some of the exercises. A goal by its definition must be in the future. The first part to this exercise is write down 3 jobs or roles that you would love to do. And I suggest that you either write this down on your laptop and put it in a password protected folder, or you write this down with your hand but you write it in code form. Write it in symbols, write it in a code that you understand but that nobody else can see. Don't share your goals with other people. Do not share your goals with other people. There are good reasons for doing it, which I'm not going to get into, for not doing that, which I'll get into in another video, but for this video, don't share your goals with other people. They're your goals, keep them personal, keep them private. So practicality should be no issue here. Just imagine somebody has waved a magic wand and you can do anything you want. What 3 goals, what 3 jobs or roles would you love to have? Your dream jobs. Okay, of the 3 jobs you write down, think of why you would love to do each of those jobs. What is it about those 3 different jobs that you would love to do? People will do anything if they have a good enough reason, said Anthony Robbins, who's one of the greatest masters when it comes to applied psychology that we have alive today. It just doesn't have much academic weight, unfortunately. People will do anything if they have a good enough reason. What are your reasons for wanting to do that? Come up with 5 things for each job or role. I've given an example in the ebook, you can check that out there. Anthony Robbins also defines 6 human needs that will feed into your values. I'll go through them very quickly. Number 1, certainty. Are you the type of person who needs to feel a lot of security, safety and predictability in their life? Number 2, uncertainty. You're the type of person who needs risk, who needs danger, who needs variety, who needs the unknown. You can see by how people live their lives what their values are. I don't value certainty highly at all. Certainty makes me feel trapped. I'm a freedom addict. So uncertainty is a huge value for me. Number 3 is significance. You have an ego. It's perfectly natural to have an ego. You want to contribute to society as a human being and you want to be recognised for your contributions. But people desire that to different degrees. It's very important to me. Again, that's something that is self-evident, right? So the 4th one is love and connection. Being loved, doing what you love and feeling connected to other people. How important is that to you? Number 5 is growth. The key to happiness, the key to human happiness is progress. If you're making progress, even if it's tiny progress, on a daily basis only, you will experience contentment and happiness. People get depressed and anxious and freaked out and start to develop mental problems when they don't have any progress in their lives. So growth, I think, is more important for everybody than most of us would realise. Contribution. How important is it to you to feel like you're giving of yourself to the world and making the world a better place? With the last couple of clients I've had in therapy, I've made that suggestion to them. I've said, okay, well, you have these low self-esteem issues because you have psychological problems, your self-image is now marred. Are there any things that you could do where you could just give of yourself freely and just help other people, just add value in the world? And both times when I asked them that question, their state changed, the physiology changed, their faces lit up, and they felt really, really happy. So I extrapolate from that, maybe that's a question I should always ask of people. Maybe that's a question I should ask of myself more, and maybe that's a question I could ask of you. What could you do? Small things, they don't have to be big like gestures, but what could you do to give more value to others? This will feed your need for contribution. Okay, go deep into each of your values and find out what moves you. You might surprise yourself. If you have a mini panic attack doing this exercise, don't panic. If you're panicking, don't panic. A lot of people I found, I used to run this exercise over and over again in schools all over the UK, and I'd get the teachers in the room to do it as well. And on average, 1 in 10 people finds this quite stressful and it makes them feel anxious. Don't worry about it. If you do, contact me. It's quite easy to deal with those problems, but you do have an unconscious block to success there, and you need to get rid of it, otherwise you'll never experience any kind of success. Okay, the next thing I suggested for this exercise was, what single goal could you commit to that you would complete within the next month that would give you the most improvement in every area of your life? So if I said to you right now, you've got to commit to one single goal that you will achieve this time next month, and it will have the most improvement, the highest leverage goal you could choose, the highest return on investment goal you could choose, what would you choose to do? Similarly, what one daily habit could you adopt for the next 3 months that would have the greatest positive impact on your life? What one daily habit could you adopt for the next 3 months, and you commit, you're like, every single day for the next 12 weeks, for the next 3 months, I will do this one habit that would have the largest positive improvement on your life overall. Now I want you to imagine that I'm a lunatic billionaire and I'm going to write a check for you, and it's going to be your annual salary from, this is the beginning of the financial year in this crazy scenario that we're creating, and I'm going to give you 1 year's salary. I'm going to write you a check. What's the figure you choose? This is your annual salary. This is to last you just for 12 months. I want you to pick a figure that you think would make you happy. Write that down without thinking about it. Write a couple of quick notes about what you could spend that money on that you think would make you happy. Again, this is just looking at values, how we value what we do, how we value what we are, how we value money, and how we choose to spend money. Okay, here's a very important point. A goal is a static objective in the future that you either hit or miss. There's always a chance that you could fail, which is often a reason why people don't set goals, and often what can cause anxiety attacks around goals is fear of failure. A direction, however, is a continuous process of movement towards certain values. Do you understand the difference? Do you understand what is more powerful? So what I want you to do now is, knowing that directions are more powerful than goals, I'd like you to write down 5 directions that you could consciously adopt moving forward based on the values that you just wrote down. If you need to pause this video as you do the exercise, then do it, but please do write these things down. So what 5 directions could you now consciously adopt, having realised more about your core values? I think RB, one of the founders of NLP, made the point that the brain doesn't move towards goals. The brain can only understand moving in certain directions. So a direction would be, I will now move in the direction of being more optimistic and cheerful and having more fun. That's not specific objectives. Very often in goal setting, they're like, you must have specific, attainable, achievable, measurable objectives. I'm going the other way with it and saying, no, you need directions, and they need to be in the direction of values, which is far more vague, but actually your emotional self can get a better grasp of it. And when the emotional self can get a better grasp of it, the unconscious can get a better grasp of it. And as you know about my approach, I'm only really interested in appealing to the unconscious mind. Next step of the exercise, I'd like you to write down, without thinking about it too much, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being super duper extremely, how motivated are you right now on a day-to-day basis? If it's different on some days it's 4, some days it's 7, I'd like you to give me an average, but write that number down now. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being amazingly so, how motivated are you? The next thing I'd like you to do is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all and 10 being extremely, how congruent or in line with your values is your current lifestyle, your career and your relationships. So, if you said, I highly value independence and doing things my own way, but your job actually requires that you're fully dependent and that you have literally no say whatsoever, then that would be incongruent. So you would give yourself a low score for that. Is your current lifestyle congruent with your values, or is it incongruent with your values? If it is congruent, you give yourself a higher score, 10 being the highest score. You can give yourself 1 being the lowest score. Then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to look for a disparity in congruence. So if you're scoring yourself 4 or below for your lifestyle being non-congruent with your values, and you find that your motivational score is 4 or below, I would suggest that you don't have a problem with motivation, you're not depressed, there is no problem inside of you, it's a lifestyle problem. Your lifestyle is not in line with your core values, and I would say it's very hard for anybody to truly experience peace and contentment if their lifestyle is in defiance of what they truly value. Then I describe an exercise that I got from Frank Kern describing the perfect day, and I believe there's a link on YouTube to this, so I'll put the link here once this video is uploaded where you can go and watch it, plus it describes it in the ebook. Again, the free ebook, which you can download from the link below. Again, this is to get into your values so that you can just freeform. Don't judge yourself. Don't write what you think somebody else would want you to write. Write what you want. Get in touch with what you want. Let this exercise, that's why I want you to write it in code. That's why I want you to write it and then put it in a password protected folder. I don't want you to share this with anyone. These are your goals, solely for you. Okay, the final thing, it's very Anthony Robbins this. What would you attempt to do if you knew you absolutely could not fail? What would you attempt to do if you knew you absolutely could not fail? Write down 5 things. I want you to do this exercise from beginning to end quite quickly. Don't spend more than 20 minutes on it. Don't judge yourself. Don't self-edit. Just freestyle. Just go for it. Just write as much stuff as you want, and then having completed the exercise, go away, have a drink, come back and read it back. And at the very least, you should learn 1 or 2 interesting things about yourself and possibly get some insight into where your life is up to at the moment. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.